I once asked a human adult if they needed Wawa, because that's what I call it to my dog. And while I was on tour, I kept being like, Wawa, Wayne, Wawa? And he'd be like, And I asked a human adult if they wanted Wawa.
This is Champaign is Also a Band podcast. One songwriter, one song. I'm Sven, your host for a journey into the music of Champaign-Urbana. Recorded in the Blue Box studio with a songwriter from the Champaign-Urbana music scene, past or present. Welcome to Champaign is Also a Band podcast. This is Sven, and today I'm with Kenna Mae, and today we're going to be talking about her song, Nobody's Dream Girl, and it's off her album, Still Asleep. You may know Kenna from the following bands: the Flower Jacks, Wagon Fire, Kenna Mae as herself solo, and actually this is where I first saw you was with May in the Dark Days.
Cool.
Dolly Pop, Sharp Dirt, and the Impalas, and Relevator, which is your current band.
Yeah.
So Kenna, welcome to Champaign is Also a Band podcast. Why don't we just go ahead and listen to your song, and then we'll just kind of break it down and talk all about it and where it came from and all that other fun stuff.
Cool.
Here we go.
Train and come and lay down in my bed, and I hardly know you. You know how that line ends, about me just dying to show you who I am. But I'll stretch our arms and see it ain't that far. Ain't that far? Hop a train and come show me who you are. I'm nobody's dream girl. If I am, they're still asleep. I don't want my love on their knees. I'd rather bring them to their feet. So until they wake up, would you mind sleeping here next to me? Hop a train, don't give a shit about discreet. Sorry, darling, what could you expect? You don't let down with a songwriter, they don't let a good feeling play dead. So all your soft, sweet sounds live on between my fingers and my frets. Hop a train and come and lay down in my bed. just hang out and try to do our best. Try to do our best. Try to do our best. Have a chain and we'll figure out the rest. I'm nobody's dream girl. If I am, they're still asleep.
All right.
All right. Yeah.
So let's see. So this is kind of a question that I like to just kind of ask everyone. So do you usually start out with words, or do you start out with something on the guitar, or do you have like a melody you've been humming? And
Usually, man, that's hard. It kind of varies for a song. Like sometimes a chunk of what's usually the chorus or what I think is going to end up the chorus, like a catchy thing will happen in my head. And it's usually like when I'm driving or when I'm alone or like when I'm walking Wayne. My dog Wayne.
Yeah.
My Peppers. I'll like feel like I need to write. So I'll grab my guitar if I have it, if I'm home, and if no one's home, I'll write. And then it just sort of comes out of my face hole. And then,
cool.
And then
that's the best place for songs to come out of, by the way.
Face hole, yeah.
Face hole.
It's the ideal place for it to fall out of.
And with this song, was that like, was there a particular melody that just kind of popped into your head?
Yeah, this song was one that I definitely was feeling really good and positive and just really content with the changes in my life. And I sat down and it sort of just kind of came out one after the other. I think I wrote this song in probably an afternoon, probably
Excellent.
an hour or so.
Yeah.
And then, fine-tuned it, made different sections, combined different lines than I did when I free wrote it,
Yeah.
But definitely wrote it all in an afternoon, probably.
Even when you write something, I guess, more along the positive lines, it still feels tainted with a little bit of sadness or regret. And I mean, I'm just looking at some of the lyrics in here, and it's like, there's so many ways to interpret kind of the relationship that of this person that you refer to, that that you can't remember the color of their eyes, but
yeah.
But the line that you repeat is, "But I'm nobody's dream girl, and if I am, they're still asleep."
Yeah.
And do you feel, is that kind of just a statement of how you feel about, I don't know, the way I see it is like, it feels like you maybe don't believe yourself that you're worth to be somebody's dream girl, or I don't mean to dig
I think there's
deep this early, but
oh no, it's let's just jump in. I think that there's so much in that one line to me. The person that I wrote this song about left me feeling really validated. That line, nobody's dream girl, and if I am, they're still asleep, means to me a lot. Is more about freedom, I think, to me than anything, and kind of understanding and accepting my polyamorous tendencies or understanding of myself now, and a different lens to view my sexuality through and my sense of self through, and that I've always categorized how happy I am by what kind of relationship I'm in, or the healthy bits of that relationship, what feels healthy, and like really defined myself by that, and how defined myself by my ability to make someone else happy. And I think that line is more about freedom from that expectation of like, I don't have to, I can like have validating, wonderful, safe, beautiful sex with people and not be expected to be their answer to happiness. I feel like a lot of people my age understand that as women, we're raised to believe that we can find our happiness in being the answer to someone's needs, like, and the thing that makes them happy and the thing that they take care of, and like we're raised to believe that we are a thing in a lot of ways, and that experience kind of freed me of that final little sort of weight.
I guess I up to my own interpretations, but but through that new lens, and if I am, they're still asleep. So it's like they haven't gotten the message yet, or they haven't figured it out, or they haven't woken up in their own existence that this is, that they don't need to rely on someone for their own happiness kind of thing. So by putting someone as a dream girl, you're fooling yourself in a way.
Yeah. You're playing into this game that's not really going to make us happy in the end. So the next line makes more sense in that context too, I think. I don't want my love on their knees. I'd rather bring them to their feet. And I don't mean that in a way that's like, I want to be the thing that makes you stronger or happier. It's like, I want to meet you on your feet. I want to meet you when you've picked yourself up. And because that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to do that for myself.
Meet them eye to eye rather than like this certain higher or lower standard. Mm-hmm. Oh, wow.
Without hierarchy in the
I like that.
That's what I desire.
I love when it's like, I had certain things that I was thinking about, and then as it kind of rolls out into some of the things that you were writing about and what your intentions for the words were, I'm like, so that's what that, and I love that, Now, do you usually write based on some kind of imagery that actually happened, or do you sometimes, like, did you actually have this recollection where you're like, I don't remember the color of your eyes, but I remember like just having that overall impression? And so it is of a specific event. Like you could take a picture of it and be like, that's it. Okay.
Yeah, like I wrote that song like, probably 10 minutes after walking that person to their home that they were staying at. Like I just came back and I was like, this is great. I'm gonna write this. This is what's happening in my head.
Was this person a distance away from you? Like, they were
just visiting, and they went back to their home. So what was your original? Because that's what I do like about music so much, is that thinking about the way I write, I now listen to other people and the way that they write, and I listen to their songs as a songwriter and not as a listener. I listen to it like, well, what were they actually thinking? What do those words mean to maybe this kind of person, or me as a kind of person? Like, what would that mean? What would be happening to me if I wrote those words? I try to think about things in those contexts. I'm curious what you think.
Well, it's interesting. So I don't remember the color of your eyes. All I remember is thinking they look awful nice. And like, I had this impression of like, this was, I don't know, like for me, it would have been, somebody I remembered from high school, and like that kind of missed connection. I just kind of remember this person and feeling there could have been a really good connection, and there could have been a really substantial, great relationship. That was my start of how I interpreted it, is that there was already that sense of disconnect where it was like, at this point, I'm only asking to reconnect with that person. I've never actually reconnected with them. So that was kind of the part of my impression with it, especially, the whole hop a train and come, and see me, and like, let's connect back that way. But the whole about me just dying to show you who I am. It's like, I'm not that same person. So in some ways the funny thing is that whenever you start interpreting something, since it is based upon your own point of view, it's like the words that you wrote, somehow the way that I'm relaying them back to you tells you more about me than it does about you.
Yeah, it's so cool.
And I mean, it is really neat. As I said, it was like this longing feeling always, like, of just missing someone. So how did this phrase, you don't lay down with a songwriter, they won't let a good feeling play dead, so all your sweet soft sounds live on between my fingers and frets. What were you thinking about that when you wrote that? It just, I've asked the question, but I'm going to throw in my little brain nuggets here. I always thought that being close to, or being in a relationship with someone who writes music can be kind of a dangerous endeavor.
Definitely.
Because it sticks. It's like it's like if you piss them off, it's like you're going down. You're like,
you're going
don't
down.
worry, I'm going to write a song about you, and everyone will remember you forever.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
you can write things down in a journal, but it won't have that like lasting power of what sticks with a song. And, because I always wonder about the person that somebody writes a really
vengeful
a spiteful song about. It's like, because I think most people, even so, still have a modicum of like holding back. So it's like, if it's a really terrible song, it's like, okay, what is it they're not saying? So, but anyway, that was my thought of when it was saying like, that hit me of that, like, that risk that you're taking by allowing somebody that's a songwriter into your
heart,
into your life, heart, yes, and making yourself be vulnerable.
I think the one thing that's can be comforting to those trying to date songwriters or be with songwriters or whatever, is the ambiguity of writing, of the understanding of what those words mean, because it's all in the context of your own life. So I have written songs about many people, Sven, and I'm sure you don't know that those songs are about that person.
That's probably true. But I think the rule should just come down to, don't be a dick.
Yeah, don't be a dick.
Don't be a dick.
I got some power.
You don't have to worry. I mean, even if you don't have that power, it's just like, just don't be a dick.
Yeah, truly.
Anyway.
Truly. Be kind. Be kind.
Yes, be kind. Yeah. So I guess I want to ask, did this person ever come back to see, did they ever hop on a train and come back to see you?
No, but I have seen them since. It's not as recently. Within this year, I started telling people when I had written songs for them and sharing it with them. And I've shared this song with this person, and they're very flattered and touched. And
nice.
They like needed it at the time when I saw them. They needed someone to tell them. I feel maybe I'm projecting and putting too much self-importance on it, but it makes me feel better as someone who writes songs very quickly about experiences and people and feels the urge to share it immediately. So it's like, it puts me in a weird position of being like the crazy lunatic who's like, right, like in love with you in 24 hours. But I did also write a song recently about how I fall in love in an hour or less. That's just how I am, and not to be weirded out, and it'll pass, and maybe it won't if it's cool.
Is there a song that you reflect back on in your is catalog the right word, but in your
repertoire?
All of your repertoire. That's a great, yes. So in your repertoire of songs, is there a song that you look back on and you really regret? Maybe that's I don't know if that's a good question or not, but I'm just like,
no, I think it's a good question. I think there are definitely things that I regret. Earlier you asked about if I write things like as a completely false narrative, or not false narrative, but generated narrative, and I don't. I only write from real things that happen. There's only been a few outlier tunes from years ago that I wrote based on just an idea of something happening. So everything that I write and everything that I've played and shared has been something that actually happened in my life, or something that I'm currently feeling, or whatever. So I regret actual things. I don't necessarily ever regret sharing it with people, but I regret some of the sadnesses or decisions that were made in sadness and in pain, simply out of not being educated to more options. But not so much about like sharing the songs, because I have written one or two of those spiteful styled songs, and that's been very cathartic. So
yeah, but you haven't those haven't been the ones that you've probably shared in a warm way to that person.
No,
or do they know?
No, they do know. Yeah, they both know, but neither of them fully got it, which is also another thing about communicating through singing and songwriting, is that it's like sometimes people don't, because it's open to so much interpretation. Sometimes it's better just to use your adult words and say what you mean, how you feel. You
just got back from doing it's been a month maybe.
Yeah.
Well, since time flies, I just figured.
Yeah.
So how was that? How was that trip? Just
It was awesome.
touring around and seeing all these different places and performing. And how many performances did you have during that whole time?
6 or 7. 7,
Nice.
I think. 21 days, 7 shows.
There's a few people that I look at, and this is just my assessment, not necessarily the truth or the real thing, but how do I even say this? Like, performing seems like a very natural thing for you. And I don't know if that's something that you've perfected, or it was just you're like, this makes the most sense to me, and so I just do it.
Kind of, I think more the latter. It's not really something that I don't know, I just don't really think about it. I'm just comfortable doing that, and I like to do it. I think about how can I do it more all the time. So I'm comfortable. It feels like the only thing I'm not good at committing and like learning like new skills. Like if it is exciting to me, I will, and I won't have to think about it because it's like, oh, this is exciting. I'm doing this. And singing and performing are those are things that I've just never had to consider. Do I do this or do I not? It's just been something that I've done. You know.
I don't know. When you sing, it does actually feel like you have this huge room. I'm just thinking in terms of the way that you're able to use your voice. It's just this big, you can be a tiny mouse in the room, or you can be like the entire room. You can fill the entire room. And that's just, you don't see a lot of, there's people that I see that are like, their style of singing is this straightforward, like they're always big or they're always mousy, you know? Mm-hmm. And that's fine, and it's perfect for their style and what they do. But I've personally really admired like your comfort on the stage. It seems like it's a very natural thing for you, which you've already stated that that's the thing that you and it's always felt right to you. Who did the accordion on this one?
Emily Ann.
Oh.
Who you just talked to.
Yes, yes. It sounds like it's just an acoustic and
it's
and the
just
accordion.
An acoustic guitar, the accordion, and Emily singing harmony on the verse or on the choruses.
How long were you working on this album?
I recorded this with Champaign-Urbana over the course of a couple of weekends, a few hours at a time, right before I left for tour. So I was sewing my CD sleeves and like printing patches and recording with Sam, and then like hustling at work and bartending and all spare time like listening to the cuts we'd made and like trying to make decisions on what to do. So it was a really straightforward recording process of just trying to play deaden the sound as much as possible and like get a good live take. I love working with Sam. I've known him for years, so it's like a really comfortable dynamic, and he's really open to exploring, different things. We recorded the last track, the mantra, at the Channing Murray in the chapel, which is really beautiful, with Paul Koheimer, and Ben Jocelyn came out and like made some sounds. We were all making sounds and humming and stomping, and it was just a really beautiful time. So I loved recording with Sam. And
yeah, it was interesting. Like, I wasn't picturing which song it is, but after you said like the stomping, because that's like this a cappella, and just like your voice. There's a lot of people that can just write things that it's because they've imagined that's what it would be like, and that does make me think that's why your music sounds so honest, is because that's what it is. Yeah, it's a specific event and it's a specific recollection.
It's pretty much everyone's my therapist. I need to talk about stuff, and I can't really talk unless I'm writing or unless I'm singing. Really, I feel like that's when I'm being the most honest, when I'm like able to not be afraid of being vulnerable. And that feels natural. That's not something I have to like psych myself up into. It's just like when I'm playing and singing and there are people there or not, like that's when I am able to speak what I really mean. And a lot of times I don't really even know what I mean. Like I write songs and then it's weeks later when the thing is that's happening that it's actually word for word, verbatim applicable to the lesson I needed to learn. Kind of teach myself without knowing it. I like predict the fuck up I'm gonna make. And then weeks later I'm rehearsing and I'm teaching the band that song and I'm like, oh, and I'm hit by it again like I was when I wrote it, because I actually made that mistake and like it's fully sunk in that moment that I made that mistake and I wrote this song before I made the mistake, and like I should have known because I already wrote the song, so why, you know. And then I write a song that's like, I'm learning from that, you know, and then I do that again. It's an endless cycle. So predicting my own fuckery and then hurting over that fuckery and then doing it again.
Well, it almost sounds like you get a 2-for-1 song, right? Like one song, you know, allows you to write another one. Not to make fun of the process, but it just, the way you said that, where you're like, and then I do a follow-up song where I talk about how I learned from that thing.
And I never mean to. It's just I usually like feel a need to write, and I write, and then I understand what I was trying to tell myself later. But I did sort of kind of reach that place of sort of being in the ether of some kind of being in the in-between of where I'm not latched into this reality and into this body, but I'm thinking in this, exploring this like yesteryear space in my head to write this song, exploring those feelings that aren't in my body or in the now per se. That is something, talking about writing with intention and writing with narrative intention or with cathartic intention, sort of, is how I categorize the way that I write on accident almost, is cathartic intention of like, I need to write and I'm just free verse writing and crying. And that's how I write a lot. And Nobody's Dream Girl, I got to write with that free verse cathartic feeling, but also with the intention of trying to thank a specific person for sharing themselves with me, because they validated me and showed me another way to love myself and another level of accepting myself. And it was growth that I really needed to be taught in that specific way. And viewing songwriting and accepting my heart in the way that it falls in love so quick and seeks pleasure so frequently through many ways and many things and many expressions, and accepting that about myself and being okay with that, and that I can learn from all these people and meet beautiful souls in intimate ways and not hate myself for it, and feel free in that, and also feel free to not do things like I think we do a lot of things we don't want to do out of social pressure, whether it's just like hanging out when you want to be alone, or whatever it is that you're like choosing out of a performative culture, choosing out of a performative like social pressure. That song kind of allowed me to free myself of those things, of defining myself on someone else's opinion of me, and that validation. It kind of getting this one specific type of validation from this really great person allowed me to look at things in a different lens and specifically try and thank them with the one thing that I think I do really well, which is to write songs and communicate that way, honestly. And so I wrote that song with intention, which is something that I don't often do. You know, I have like a lot of self-hate, like I think a lot of artists do, and that's something I'm trying to put down. And the way that I've been writing for so long, I got so much positive reinforcement for, you know, just sort of bleeding out in front of people, and realizing that like I can do that and I can share that intimately with people, but I also can protect myself from that, and listen to myself and trust myself and try and learn about myself in a way that isn't just going out to see how hard I can get burned and hurt and then write about it.
Champaign is also a band podcast is proud to support Jubilee Cafe. Jubilee Cafe is a free weekly meal program at Community United Church of Christ, 805 South 6th Street in Champaign, Illinois. Jubilee Cafe serves a home-cooked meal from 5 to 6:30 each Monday. Their mission is to feed hungry people by cooking healthy, delicious meals and by serving their guests restaurant-style with servers waiting on tables. Jubilee Cafe is open to anyone who cares to eat with them. Because food insecurity among students is so high, they serve students as well as others in and around the Champaign-Urbana community who struggle with hunger. Meals are free to all and will be served each Monday evening, located in the accessible lower level of the building at 6th and Daniel Streets in Champaign. For more information on the meal or how to volunteer, go to the Jubilee Cafe CUCC Facebook page or email them at jubilee.cafe@community-ucc.org. That's jubilee.cafe@community-ucc.org. Yeah, let's just talk about the scene. So, if someone was while you were on tour, and they're like, so, where are you from? And, well, how's the music scene there? I mean,
yeah, that actually happened a few times. Sure. People ask me what the scene was like here. I kind of describe it, and I kind of separate it by genre. Because I do feel like it is that's one thing that I don't love about our scene is that, I hate to start with something that I don't love about it, but
go for it.
The first thing that I think of right now is that I don't love how we kind of divide it by genre. I think I feel that way about a lot of things in my life, just in general right now, I just don't, why separate everything? I love a lot of different things, and I feel like there's a bit of exclusivity to certain scenes, little sub scenes within our scene, that I don't know about.
Yeah.
I hear about a band that on Instagram today, I don't remember, it was a kind of a poppy punk band, and I was like, this is fucking great, I love this, and realized that they were from here and had been based out of here in Champaign-Urbana for a while, and I don't remember their name right now because that's my brain, I never remember. I just wanted to be having known about this band, I feel like there's so much going on in our community that I don't know about. And part of that is my own desire to be able to write without accidentally referencing someone that I don't know yet. And that's part of the reason I don't listen to a lot of music, actually, is that I'll find one thing that I really latch onto, and I'll listen to that for a year, and then I won't listen to it for a while. But I write in such a subconscious way a lot of times that I've definitely directly referenced a song later, so then I just sort of don't listen to things so that I don't rip it off or whatever on accident. So I try not to. But that's the one thing that I love and wish would change a little bit about this scene, is that was a little bit more accessible, the sub scenes within our community.
Right, or even have more shows where it was genre mixed.
I went to this house show when I was living in New Orleans once. It was the best. Biked there in the rain, was super lost, confused. I got there a little early, and the first thing that happened was someone offered me some of their cashews. They just had this bag of cashews from the co-op, and they were or the health food store there, and they were you want some cashews? And I was oh sure. And I show up, and it's this basement punk show, house show. I'd gotten the impression from a lot of my friends who had invited me that it was, kind of a dirty scene, and bring your fifth, and not a lot of sharing, and all these things, and it was okay, weird but cool. And I show up, and it's the absolute opposite of that, and people brought a bunch of food and cheese plates and crackers and beer and weed and all the things you want at a house show party. And then the music that was being performed was really off the wall and like really intentional and expressive and weird and like not refined. And everyone in the room was avid and attentive and like so supportive, and there was no judgment and there was no exclusivity feeling at all. People wanted to meet each other, like they were wanting to welcome. Like I didn't know anybody there. It was within the first year being down there, and I didn't know anybody, and because my friend turned out like he couldn't come, and I went anyways, and felt brave and went and met all these really amazing people, and they were so welcoming. And I don't think that that's something that we kind of lack here too, is like within that idea of having a less exclusive scene, like having a scene that's more tangible to everyone. Because I think the whole things that we want in community is to have community and to have a educated, understanding, loving community. And I think a way to do that is to have shows and show spaces and art spaces that allow you to meet someone that you wouldn't meet and talk about something that you don't always get to talk about. And I think music is the way to do that.
Would you say that the wellness house is are you hoping to make that more of a venue? Or?
Yeah, I think as long as I am living there, I would really love it to be a venue. I don't know if I'm going to be living there next year, but as long as I'm there, I want to have shows once a month with a less restricted idea of what it means to be a show space and what kind of music and performance we feature.
I guess I was just thinking when you were saying your experience at this house party in New Orleans, that that they brought food, and I noticed that's like something that a lot of our venues don't necessarily have. This, there's going to be food and then there's going to be music. I mean, it sounds like having that kind of an environment where there's food involved and an open and joining, I guess, function of food is like, I was wondering if that was something that you were trying to kind of recreate from that experience in New Orleans, if that's,
I think definitely.
But yeah, when you had your tour send off at the wellness house, that was really cool, having some nosh and then hearing some tunes and sending you on your way. That was really cool.
That was really special.
I posted a picture of that on my Instagram.
Awesome. Yes, I remember,
I use
pushing
filters.
The heart. I pushed the heart. I liked that post. I specifically remember.
Is there a particular, you could say either DIY or you could also say like a more public venue. Do you have a favorite like public venue and then a favorite DIY?
Oh, that's so hard. I love the Loose Cobra. I love the Loose Cobra.
And then for DIY, or do you have another like public? I call it public, but it's like a business venue.
I haven't played a lot of places, I guess. I've played the same places over and over a lot. I've kind of done that to myself a little bit. But one event I really, really love in general is Hog Shoot, and the offshoot Hog Shoots are really always really great bands that I love, and it's always my favorite people at those shows. So it's just like the most family feeling members of the music community are always there, and I love it. So the Hog Shoot offshoots and Hog Shoot festival in general, those are my probably my favorite. Because the Kalik Center, I guess that would count as my answer, as my non-traditional venue. Because it's just so neat, like up on those rafters and looking down, and all the guys like Brad Olson and Dave Pride and like countless like people that do so much work and just make it so beautiful. Playing on the roof of that house, playing in the barn. I don't know, Again, just like the best music family members out there. I want to say one thing specifically about Hog Shoot, in the interest of Hog Shoot. This is definitely like, we need to get Coulter Wall, Saskatchewan Canadian musician, to the Calyx Center for Hog Shoot. And this is me. I've been asking and telling the boys, Dave Pride and Clax and Brad, and that we need to get Coulter Wall. But mainly the PSA I want to put out there is like, Coulter Wall, come to the Hog Shoot. It's a beer drinking, drug doing, sober if you want to be, bonfire, all love, great space. I had the literal best time last time.
Yeah.
The literal best time.
If you've listened to our episode, I actually interviewed you about the Loch Ness Monster.
Yes.
You remember?
Yes, you did. Yes, you did.
That's right. So, but anyway.
Yeah.
That's just the kind of attitude, and like, I mean, I think there may have been like one person that was like, I don't feel like being interviewed, but that was just because that was their own space that they wanted to just chill. But everybody else was just like open and warm and happy, and like it is place. Everybody that really likes everybody else. I don't know. Yeah,
it's like
everybody's
the best
so open.
bands and the best audience members hang out.
Yeah,
like truly, because it's just so great. Everyone is paying attention and excited for you to share what you're doing musically, and excited to talk to you and hang out with you afterwards, and excited to run over to the next stage and see who's playing over there, and excited to talk about the sound and like how it looks and like the sun and like just the trees and whatever. Like everyone's just so excited to be together, and it's like, it's one of the sickest, best, most positive community spaces, I think.
Yeah. And there's usually puppies.
Oh my gosh, and there's puppies, and I gotta bring my dog, and it's the best time.
Champaign is also a band podcast is proud to support Exile on Main Street. Exile on Main Street, located in the old train station building at 100 North Chestnut Street in downtown Champaign, has been helping to build record collections since 2004. Carrying a wide array of new and used LPs, CDs, and video games. Exile on Main Street has something for just about any music enthusiast and old-school gaming devotee. Exile also hosts regular free live music shows on its stage, so be sure to check out their Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter pages for the up-to-date details on the next upcoming event. Open 7 days a week. They can be reached by phone at 217-398-MAIN. That's 217-398-6246. Kenna, what is your favorite non-musical thing?
My favorite non-musical thing is, it's right now, it's a tie between octopi, but it's not really octopi, it's octopuses. Just to say that also. And tiny homes.
Oh.
Building tiny homes and mobile homes. Those are my two obsessions right now.
Oh, can I do it? Can I be like, but why? But why octopi?
Because octopuses are amazing. They're super intelligent. I think they're the closest thing to alien life that we're going to get to, that we can potentially interview and understand and communicate with. And they can communicate with us, and they observe us, and they have facial recognition and understand like specific personalities, like tied to specific faces of their caretakers and research facilities and things like that. And they're really interesting, and they are hilarious and kind of spiteful and incredibly intelligent, and have body awareness and have community, and are definitely going to go extinct in the sad shape of our oceans. And I think I read recently that, I'm probably totally misquoting, but it's like something to do with the gestation period and their way octopuses mate and their traveling habits, how long it takes for them to grow, and in the water temperatures and all these variables and things, and different kinds of octopuses have different gestation periods. But essentially with the changes in climate in our oceans, it's throwing off their gestation periods and where they travel to and where they go. And so in a certain number of years that I don't remember we're going to lose a certain kind of octopuses, and I don't remember. It's been a minute since I read that book, but I think about octopuses a lot, and deep sea creatures, and anytime I'm stoned and drawing or daydreaming, I've seen like every documentary that I could on. So if anyone knows any good octopus documentaries or cephalopod in general documentaries, I will.
There's a podcast called Ologies.
I love Ologies. Ellie
good.
Ward is
good.
my... She's like my best friend and she doesn't know it. I absolutely love Ologies. I just listened to the sea turtle one and learned that weird thing about sea turtle penises, and I'm like, what is happening? It's crazy.
The crow thanatology. Is that the right one where it's like the crow funerals?
Yes.
That was I think the last one that I heard.
That one was really, really good. I've been listening to those, like binge listening to Ologies lately. It's
yeah.
I love them. I love it. I love Ologies. Allie Ward is so great. Asks, what is her thing?
Ask smart people dumb
stupid questions. Yeah, I love it. But also, like, we're not stupid, but we just don't know. But yeah. But I think she says it in that taste of like, it's okay to be stupid.
Yeah,
because you can't know everything. That was one thing that she said that I just love. I think that podcast is super empowering. I love it, and
I actually love the pacing on it, like the way that she lays out the information when she does the aside notes and like voiceovers. Anyway, but no, I was just thinking of when they were talking about the squid person, Sarah McAttack or something like.
I don't
is
know
that right? No, maybe I said the wrong person.
Have I listened to the squid one? I don't know if I've listened to the squid one. I'm about to have the best Saturday night.
It was before I listened to it on the way to Hog Shoot this year.
So cool.
Oh, and then I guess tiny homes.
Tiny homes, yeah.
Yeah, or tiny houses.
That's kind of, that's kind of related to the music, though, because I want a tiny mobile home to be able to just be on the road like I was, playing music all the time.
All right.
But I'm also a carpenter's daughter and, like, always loved building stuff, and that's something that I really love to do and love to work with my dad as often as possible and learn from him in those ways. Cool. But he just doesn't often really need my unrefined skills. I've more just been his like carpenter grunt for a couple of summers, but I grew up with it, and he always would like draw up drafts with me on like my dream tree house and my like all stuff like that. So I've always been doing it, and now I can kind of put that skill into practicality and be like, okay, like what do I need to learn to do and understand? How do I build a composting toilet? How do I work electricity? How do I save to buy a trailer, buy a van, buy a truck? I don't know. I just want to bring my dog, So I'm geeking out and buying books online and trying to understand off-grid living and stuff like that. So.
Thank you for coming in and telling me about your song, Nobody's Dream Girl. And
thanks for having me.
Your new album is out, Still Asleep. People can find that on Bandcamp. And any plans on making a physical copy, or just? I do
have a few physical copies left. I made some for tour, and then I didn't sell quite all of them, though most of them, and they're handmade. Yeah, so I do have those. There'll be more available, and I have a bunch of merch left over from tour, so I have a bunch of stuff about the album available for sale not necessarily through the Bandcamp, but at shows. On the Bandcamp, you can buy the CD or buy just the download, either way.
Thank you for coming and spending some time and telling me all about your song.
Yeah, thanks for the chocolate. Thank you for listening to Champaign is Also a Band podcast. This is Kenna Mae reminding you great music is out there. Go find it where you live.
You almost have an NPR voice. It's so good.
Luhava Studio, South Beaker, on the inside.